He is the most powerful voice in the modern world, a philosopher king who sits not on a throne of gold, but on a podcast stool, broadcasting his thoughts to 100 million disciples. He is a comedian, a martial artist, a psychonaut, and a hunter. He is the modern Renaissance man, a walking embodiment of human potential, sculpted from a relentless regimen of discipline and curiosity. But what if I told you that the man you see, the 57-year-old with the physique of a 30-year-old gorilla, the boundless energy, the razor-sharp mind, is not a product of nature, but a masterpiece of science? What if the ideal he represents is not something you can achieve, but something you must buy? I'm on testosterone replacement therapy. I've been on it for over 10 years. It's the smartest thing I've ever done. This isn't a story about deception. This is a story about a far more dangerous and seductive idea: the truth. The dark truth about what it really takes to defy age, to conquer your own biology, and to become a modern god. This is the story of Joe Rogan and the expensive, brutal, and chemical reality behind his perfect human experiment. To understand the cult of Joe Rogan, you have to understand the man he was before he became a monument, before the $100 million Spotify deal, before he became the gatekeeper of modern discourse. He was just a man searching for his edge, a stand-up comedian with a passion for martial arts, a curious mind trapped in a world that often rewards conformity.
Good Lord. Good Lord. Look at his body. He's just a ball of tense muscle, just exploding on your face. Pause.
His rise was not meteoric. It was a slow, grinding ascent. From hosting Fear Factor, a show that celebrated the grotesque, to commentating for the UFC, a sport that celebrates primal violence, Rogan has always been fascinated by the extremes of human experience.
They're getting after you anyway. You think the audience has no effect on this?
He has always been drawn to the raw, the real, the uncomfortable. But his greatest project has always been himself. As he entered his late 30s, Rogan, like all men, began to feel the inevitable pull of time. The energy waned. The recovery from workouts took longer. The mental fog began to creep in. He was facing the universal enemy, aging. But unlike most men who accept this decline as a fact of life, Rogan declared war. This is where the story takes its turn. This is where the everyman philosopher becomes a biohacking pioneer. He didn't just accept his fate, he decided to rewrite his own biological code. He saw his body not as a temple to be preserved, but as a machine to be upgraded. His public persona became a living testament to this war. The photos on his Instagram showed a man who was not just holding back the tide of age, but reversing it. A thick, muscular chest, arms etched with veins, a back like a topographical map of a mountain range. He wasn't just fit for his age, he was fitter than most men in their prime. He became an icon of vitality, a symbol of hope for millions of men who feared their own decline. He was living proof that you didn't have to get old and weak. You could be a warrior, a scholar, and a beast all at once. His message was intoxicating. Through discipline, through diet, through relentless training, you too could achieve this state of grace. You could optimize your life. You could become the hero of your own story. He sold a dream of self-mastery, and millions of people bought it. But the dream had a hidden price tag, a truth that was hiding in plain sight, a truth he was surprisingly and shockingly willing to share. And that's where the real story begins. The turning point wasn't a scandal or an expose. It was a confession, delivered with the same casual intensity as his thoughts on aliens or politics. On his own podcast, to his millions of followers, Joe Rogan pulled back the curtain on the wizard of wellness. He admitted, openly and without shame, that his fountain of youth wasn't found in a mythical spring, but in a syringe. He was on testosterone replacement therapy, TRT, And not just TRT, he was using human growth hormone, HGH, peptides, a cocktail of modern pharmacology designed to hold back the hands of time. "It's a giant chapter of my life," he would say. "It's a giant chapter of my health. It's what I do. I'm on hormone replacement. I talk about it all the time." This was the moment the illusion shattered, but it was replaced by something far more complex. He wasn't a fake natty influencer lying about his steroid use. He was something new, the brutally honest, enhanced guru. He wasn't selling a lie, he was selling a very expensive and demanding truth. The truth that to look and feel like Joe Rogan, you have to be willing to do what Joe Rogan does. And what he does is extreme. Let's start with the foundation of his protocol. The hormones. Testosterone, the very essence of masculinity, begins its slow decline in men after the age of 30. For Rogan, this was not an acceptable fate. He started TRT in his late 30s, injecting testosterone to bring his levels back to that of a young man in his prime. This is the secret to his relentless energy, his ability to recover from brutal workouts, and the foundation upon which his formidable physique is built. But testosterone was just the beginning. He added human growth hormone to the mix, a powerful and controversial peptide that promotes cell regeneration, muscle growth, and fat loss. It's the stuff that gets athletes banned from sports, the substance whispered about in anti-aging clinics for the super rich. For Rogan, it was just another tool in his arsenal, another weapon in his war against time. He spoke of it casually, discussing his use of injectable HGH and various peptides designed to stimulate its natural production. This chemical intervention is the engine of the Joe Rogan machine. It's what allows a man in his late 50s to maintain the muscle mass and low body fat of a professional athlete. It's the invisible scaffolding that supports his entire lifestyle. And it is a lifestyle that is as demanding as it is expensive. Then there is the diet. Rogan has become the modern poster boy for the carnivore diet, an extreme nutritional philosophy that eliminates almost all plant matter. For weeks at a time, his diet consists of nothing but meat, salt, and water. He feasts on elk he has hunted himself, on grass-fed ribeyes, on liver, heart, and other organs that most modern humans would find repulsive. He describes the effects in glowing terms: boundless energy, mental clarity, the elimination of inflammation and autoimmune issues. He presents it as a return to our ancestral roots, a way of eating that is more aligned with our primal biology. But it is also a diet of extreme restriction, a social and logistical challenge that is far removed from the reality of most people's lives. It is the diet of a man who has the resources to source the highest quality meat, the discipline to resist all other foods, and the conviction to believe that this extreme path is the only true path. This diet is fueled by a philosophy of self-sufficiency and primal living. He hunts his own food, not just for sport, but for a spiritual connection to the cycle of life and death. He preaches the gospel of eating nose to tail, of honoring the animal by consuming every part of it. It is a powerful and romantic vision, but it is also a vision that is only accessible to a privileged few. And finally, there is the training. Joe Rogan's workout routine is a brutal symphony of violence and discipline. It is not the simple 3 days a week weightlifting program you see in fitness magazines. It is a daily, multidisciplinary assault on his own physical limits. His primary love is martial arts. He is a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, a discipline he has practiced for decades. He is a black belt in Taekwondo. He trains kickboxing with legendary coaches. This is not a casual hobby. It is a core part of his identity. He spars, he rolls, he drills, pushing his body through the kind of intense, high-impact training that would cripple most men his age. But the martial arts are just one piece of the puzzle. He complements this with a relentless strength and conditioning program. He is a devotee of the kettlebell, a tool he praises for its ability to build functional, explosive strength. His workouts, often shared on social media, are grueling affairs. Heavy swings, goblet squats, presses, and snatches, performed with a ferocity that is both inspiring and intimidating. He lifts weights, following a program designed for functional strength, not just aesthetic size. He runs hills, he does yoga for flexibility and mental focus, he spends hours in the sauna to promote recovery and detoxification. His life is a never-ending cycle of stress and recovery, of breaking his body down and building it back up stronger than before. This is the dark truth of Joe Rogan. It is not a truth of deception, but a truth of extremity. To be Joe Rogan is to be a full-time athlete, a dedicated scientist, and a willing guinea pig in your own experiment. It requires a level of dedication that is incompatible with a normal life. It requires a financial investment that is out of reach for all but the wealthiest 1%. So, what is the lesson we are supposed to learn from this? This is where the story of Joe Rogan becomes a mirror, reflecting our own anxieties about health, aging, and the pursuit of perfection. On one hand, Rogan represents a new kind of honesty. In a fitness industry rife with lies, where enhanced influencers sell workout programs and supplements under the false pretense of being natural, Rogan's transparency is a breath of fresh air. He is not telling you that you can look like him by drinking a protein shake. He is telling you that it requires testosterone injections, growth hormone, a diet of raw liver, and a lifetime of brutal training. He has shattered the myth of the achievable ideal and replaced it with a transparent, albeit extreme, reality. But there is a darker side to this honesty. By normalizing hormone replacement and a battery of extreme anti-aging protocols, Rogan is promoting a new kind of impossible standard. The old standard was to look like a fitness model through diet and exercise alone. A lie. The new standard is to look like a biohacked warrior poet through a combination of extreme discipline and expensive pharmacology. A truth, but an equally unattainable one for the vast majority of his audience. He has created a new level of the game, a tier of human performance that is only accessible to the elite. The average man with a 9-to-5 job, a family, and a mortgage cannot train for 4 hours a day. He cannot afford a freezer full of elk meat and a monthly prescription for testosterone and HGH that can run into the thousands of dollars. He cannot turn his life into a full-time laboratory for human optimization. And this is the central paradox of Joe Rogan. He is a man of the people who lives a life that is completely removed from the people. He preaches self-improvement, but the version of self-improvement he embodies is so extreme that it becomes a form of self-obsession. He champions critical thinking, but he also promotes a worldview where the answer to every problem is more discipline, more restriction, more technology, more intervention. His body is no longer a natural form, it is a statement. It is a declaration of war against mediocrity, against aging, against the natural entropy of the universe. It is a testament to the power of human will, but it is also a cautionary tale about the dangers of that will when it is untethered from the constraints of nature. What does it mean to live a good life? Is it to fight and conquer every limitation, to squeeze every last drop of performance out of our biological machine? Or is it to find grace and acceptance in the natural cycles of life, to embrace the wisdom that comes with age, and to find peace in our own imperfections? Joe Rogan has chosen his side. He has chosen the path of the warrior, the path of relentless optimization, the path of the man who refuses to surrender. He has built himself into a modern titan, a monument of muscle and will, but in doing so, he has created an ideal that is as inspiring as it is isolating, as honest as it is unattainable. He is not a liar, he is not a fraud, he is something far more complex and unsettling. He is the honest monster. He is the man who shows you exactly what it takes to become a god, and in doing so, reveals just how far from godhood the rest of us truly are. The real dark truth behind Joe Rogan is not that he uses hormones, it's that he has shown the world the blueprint for defying age, and in doing so, has made us all question the price of our own humanity. He has forced us to look in the mirror and ask a terrifying question. If you had the resources, the discipline, and the courage to do what he does, would you? And what part of yourself would you have to kill in the process? His story is a mirror that reveals an uncomfortable truth about modern masculinity. We live in an age where men are told they are in crisis. Testosterone levels are dropping across the population. Obesity rates are soaring. Depression and anxiety are at all-time highs. The modern man feels weak, soft, disconnected from his primal nature. And into this crisis steps Joe Rogan, a man who has found a solution. But it is a solution that is only available to the privileged few. The Joe Rogan protocol is not just expensive, it is a full-time job. It requires access to specialized medical care, to doctors who will prescribe and monitor your hormone levels. It requires the time to train for hours every day, to hunt your own food, to prepare elaborate meals. It requires the mental fortitude to endure extreme discomfort, to sit in ice baths, to push your body to its limits day after day. It is a lifestyle that is fundamentally incompatible with the demands of a normal life. And yet, millions of men look at Joe Rogan and see a vision of what they could be. They see a man who has conquered age, who has maintained his vitality and his power into his late 50s. They see a man who is living proof that you don't have to accept decline, and they want what he has. But what they don't see is the price tag, the hidden infrastructure, the chemical scaffolding that makes the entire edifice possible. This is the final, uncomfortable question that Joe Rogan's story forces us to confront. What does it mean to be a man in the modern world? Is it to fight against every limitation? To use every tool at our disposal to maximize our performance and extend our youth? Or is it to find peace with our natural limitations, to age gracefully, and to find meaning in something other than our physical prowess? Joe Rogan has made his choice. He has chosen the path of the warrior, the path of optimization, the path of the man who refuses to go gentle into that good night. He is a modern Prometheus, stealing fire from the gods of medicine and science to give himself the gift of eternal youth. And like Prometheus, he is chained to his choice, forever bound to the cycle of injections, diets, and brutal training that keeps the illusion alive. He is not a villain. He is not even a cautionary tale in the traditional sense. He is something more complex and more modern. He is the honest face of enhancement culture. He has shown us the blueprint, laid bare the truth, and forced us to reckon with the reality that the ideal we see on our screens is not a natural state, but a carefully constructed, chemically enhanced performance. And in doing so, he has given us a gift. Not the gift of an easy answer, but the gift of an honest question. What are you willing to sacrifice? What are you willing to inject? What are you willing to become? The dark truth behind Joe Rogan's diet, training, and hormone use is not that he is lying. It is that he is telling the truth. And the truth is far more expensive, far more demanding, and far more unsettling than any lie could ever be.